Audrey, and Rusty. We have Becky Earhart to give our invocation today.
Thank you. Can you bow your heads, please? Dear Lord, please bless this gathering of fellow Rotarians today. Please help us to see those in need and give the strength and wisdom to serve our community as we should. Help us to lift the burdens of others while maintaining the dignity of humankind. Soften our hearts to be sensitive and loving as we serve as Rotarians. Please bless this food we have received to the nourishment of our bodies and us to thy service. In Christ's name, amen.
Thank you, Becky. I've been told that we don't have any visitors or visiting Rotarians other than one. Okay, we have one that will be, I guess, can be introduced now. Okay.
Check. Good afternoon. I'm Catherine Davis, and I am happy to introduce our speaker's program assistant from Clemson Research and Education, Trey Buckaloo. Trey, please stand up. Being the only visitor today.
Thank you. I believe that is the only visitor today. We have Wayne Cannon with Health and Happiness now. Thank you, Wayne. Come on up.
I got two new things this new year, and I finally got the earplugs so I can hear. We all appreciate that because I'm always the one saying, "Speak into the mic." Anyway, I really wasn't supposed to have this today, but the person who gets it is scared of the virus and he didn't come. Everybody's really having fun with the virus, right? Yeah. God, make it go away, please. Anyway, today there was no news from any of the membership about health and happiness of any group. I guess we're all happy, and we sure will be glad when the virus is gone. Usually, I don't want to disappoint y'all, so since we're all questioned down, I'm sure you're all reading the Rotarian, right? When you get that. Well, there's no reason that you can't read it now that you got all this time on your hands. And there's a great article in there about our new president. Does our international president for next year, anybody know where he's from?
Germany.
What's that?
Oh, for next year?
The one next year. Read, right. He is from Germany. He is the first German Rotarian to be elected as president international. And he has there's quite a long article in there about him, and I recommend reading it. It's amazing what these gentlemen and ladies are doing. I don't think we've ever had a lady as the president of international, come to think of it, but I'm sure that it's only a matter of time. Anyway, I'd recommend that you read the article because what they do, the accomplishments that they make in order to achieve the presidency of the Rotary International is just phenomenal. I don't know how in the world they have time to live. And also, so I'd recommend reading the Rotary. There's a couple other good articles in there too that I'd recommend that you read that really, you're missing so much of what Rotarian, you could be a whole lot more informed Rotarian, as well as you're missing so much when you don't read it. And I'd recommend that you read it, but I know I've recommended that in the past, and that's very good. So today the CART committee asked me to talk about Lewy body dementia, and this is kind of interesting because my younger brother just passed away 2 years ago with Lewy body dementia. It's a form of dementia that actually is named after the gentleman that found him. That's called Lewy bodies in the brain, and basically what it does is intercept the impulses and causes all sorts of problems. One of which is interesting with it, goes with Alzheimer's, It is really a devastating disease, and it was really traumatic to watch how a number of your family goes downhill so fast, and so, well, actually it's pretty slow, and it goes over a period of time. Not only do you have Parkinson's with all of its issues, but you also have all forgetfulness and all sorts of other complications. And it is, well, we recommend that you don't forget the blue bucket in front of you. Basically, that's the message here. Please make your generous donation. One other thing is, usually we talk about one of the, I got into not long ago, 2 or 3 years ago, looking at how all the counties were named in the state, and usually I can give you one or two. The one I've got today is York County. York County has an interesting history of that part of the world up there. And also it's interesting that in 2010, York County had a population of 210,000 people. Last year, the population of York County is now over 280,000 people. That's a growth of 60,000+ people in less than 10 years. God, I wish the Yankees would stay on. Anyway, it was founded, York County actually was part of North Carolina when it was first established, and it broke off from North Carolina when they formed South Carolina, North Carolina, and basically in around 1848, the county seat became Rock Hill, and that's how York County was basically named after the York part of England, and that's how it got the county. At one time it was called Yorkville, but they changed it. They dropped the ville and it became York County. Y'all have a great week, dodge the virus, and have good health.
Thank you, Wayne. Wayne said that he didn't want to tell any jokes, so I did have one. There is a new virus out on top of COVID-19. It's called SOTS 20, S-O-T-S. Sick of this stuff, 20. So that's my joke for the day. And for those of you who know my dad, I can't help it. Okay. Please continue to eat. If you have finished, go ahead and put on your mask. We are required to wear masks in Columbia and Richland County, as a reminder. Please do that. It's Seersucker Monday. I don't know how many of you caught that in our newsletter. I asked folks to wear seersucker. Last week I looked at the heat index for today, and it was like, the temperature was 97. So I said, okay, let's just encourage folks to be comfortable today. So everybody who's wearing seersucker or something like thereof, just stand up real quick, because I just want to see who all did it. And by the way, Rusty did not. So I see some people who have some seersucker on, and something similar too. Go ahead, Matthew. That's close. It's summer anyway. But I did see that there's a heat advisory out for today. I'm just glad it feels like pajamas wearing seersucker. We'd like to encourage everybody to bring a prospective member on Monday, August 3rd. Again, we have Discover Rotary here at 11:30. Next week, we are going to have a little different configuration. The University of South Carolina School of Medicine is going to have this room and that one. So our entire Rotary Club is going to be in that portion of Seawells just for the 1 week. Just wanted y'all to know that. But Cal had an opportunity to make some money. We don't want to prevent him from doing that. Hope all of y'all have completed your surveys. Last week you got a survey. It'll take you literally less than a minute to click what you want to do and be involved in this year with our Rotary Club. We'd appreciate you getting that turned in as soon as possible. Also, pay your invoices as soon as you can this week if you have not done that already. We've got a pretty full schedule today, so I'm going to go ahead and start with our next portion of the schedule. We've got 2 guest speakers today. One's the main one coming from Sandhill's research, but we've also got Assistant Governor Eric Davis. I'm going to introduce him. Some of you all may know him pretty well because he doesn't need an introduction. He's a past member of this club, but I want to give you some background information about his impressive background. And as Wayne was talking about our German president with a long list of everything, Eric is working on his long list of everything that he's been doing with the Rotary Club and the Rotary District. He was born in Cincinnati, Ohio. He has a Bachelor's of Science Management Information Systems degree from the Ohio State University. His family's married for 31 years to Diane. She's a bookkeeper for St. Peter's Catholic School. By the way, Eric brought her to our bocce ball last year. So Eric and his wife came and were in Sago Park watching all those festivities with the Special Olympics. That was great to have him there. He's got a son, Benjamin, with a PhD in civil engineering. And he has a daughter who's a traveling labor and delivery nurse. God be with her. I hope she's safe. Professionally, he's super smart on the programmer side and system analyst and systems administrator. He founded Future Tech Enterprises in 1988, and he's a technology consultant for progressive small and mid-sized businesses in South Carolina. He joined the Columbia Rotary Club in 2001. He transferred to the Vista Nights Rotary Club in 2013. Since then, he's been doing a number of things with the district. Since 2018, he's been our Assistant Governor for Area 2. Please give a warm Rotary welcome back to Eric Davis.
Thank you so much for having me. With regard to my daughter, it might be of interest. She just finished up an assignment in Houston, which, as you all know, is a COVID hotspot, and so she was taking care of a lot of pregnant mothers who had the virus. And there's a completely different protocol for doing that. I mean, you have to get dressed up in basically a seamless suit from head to toe with this ugly-looking mask on. She sent us a picture of herself dressed up like that. It was really out of this world. Looked like she was an astronaut. R.I. President Holger Nack of the Herzogtum Lauenburg-Mölln Rotary Club in Germany asked us to use this Rotary year to create opportunities that strengthen our leadership, help put ideas into action, and improve the lives of those in need. If ever there was a time to step up and serve, it is now. Now is the time to move beyond what Rotary used to be and visualize what Rotary needs to be in this fast-changing world of ours. The world, our country, and our state has been permanently changed by recent events. The need is so great in our community. The pandemic is a lonely existence and a financially disastrous one for many. There are so many ways you can help locally as well as globally. At the club level, I would challenge every member of this club to reach out in a personal way to at least one other club member. Engagement is difficult during the pandemic and an economic downturn, and your club leadership, Mason in particular, would greatly appreciate any extra effort that you could do to strengthen the Rotary bond with other members. At the area level, we now have 8 clubs in our area. We have 6 Rotary clubs, 1 Rotaract club, and 1 Early Act club. This year, at the area level, we'll focus on working together as an area to improve our community. Last year, the area committees, we had an experience committee and a social media committee. They did a wonderful job of planning 3 events. They planned a Discover Rotary Day at the Art Museum Plaza, an early education literacy walk at Riverfront Park, and a food packing event with Global Impact in association with St. Peter's Early Act. All 3 of these events were canceled by the pandemic, so the committees really never got to see their work come to fruition. This year, I'm going to challenge those committees to be creative in providing opportunities to serve, whether in person or virtual, and to find ways to bring events to fruition in this unpredictable environment. It means utilizing new tools to raise our Rotary game to the next level, to organize and plan, and to continue to improve every club's web and social media presence. Our district governor, Pauline Levesque, and the rest of the district leadership are committed to helping you in any way to grow club membership and keep your existing members engaged. Efforts that they've begun include the following things. There's a district-wide Discover Rotary every Tuesday at 12 noon through the end of July, so I guess that's one more Tuesday. Have all of you heard of the CRAP discussions? Raise your hand if you've heard of those. All right, some people have. Great. That's Conversations with Rotary Action People. They're actually very good. They have some very interesting people on there. Those are Monday and Friday at 11 o'clock. And then Wednesday at 12 noon, there's a district-wide Rotary meeting. So if you don't get enough Rotary here, or if you miss your Rotary here, you can tune in at 12 noon on Zoom and have your Rotary meeting virtually. And lastly, and I think this is the most fun, every third Thursday, there's going to be a virtual happy hour. So you may attend with a virtual beer or a real beer, your choice. Tune in and experience some Rotary fellowship with your fellow Rotarians from around the district. I have some specific ideas for you that you can implement right now, right after you leave this meeting. You can strengthen your club leadership by volunteering to serve on a committee in your club. Just see Mason after the meeting. He will sign you right up, won't you, Mason?
Yes.
Okay. You can strengthen area leadership by visiting other clubs virtually. My club is one of the most fun, Vista Nightclub. We do have virtual and real beer at our Zoom meetings. You can think about mentoring a Rotaractor or an early actor. And you can strengthen your global leadership by pursuing a global grant or sponsoring a global ambassadorial scholar. You guys did that last year, right? Yep, I thought you did. Good. So how about some service ideas? Dream up a club service project that meets a community need and volunteer to organize it. Don't just throw out the idea, volunteer to organize that service opportunity. Invent a virtual club social and lead the planning. Volunteer for an area-wide service project. All those are things that you can do right now today after you leave this meeting. How about some ways to improve people's lives? Find new ways to inspire your fellow Rotarians and act on them. For example, surprise a Rotarian by showing up at his or her house with a meal or a beer to share. Proactively invite other clubs to collaborate on service projects with you. You can brainstorm new ways to help your community as well. How about visiting a family shelter and passing out cookies to the kids? How about adopting a needy family and making a Christmas in July for them? In conclusion, let's work together as an area to expand our clubs, to create new and meaningful service experiences, and to improve the lives of those in need of our community and our world. Thank you very much for listening to me. If you have any questions, Mason is fully briefed and can handle any of your tough questions. I, unfortunately, have to be going. Computer guy's job is never done, and I've had some emergencies come up this afternoon that I have to take care of. But thank you all for having me for lunch, and I'll see you again soon.
Thank you, Eric. We appreciate all the work that you're doing for us in the area and also district-wide. Membership is one of our big key focuses this year. We're doing a lot of Discover Rotaries and hopefully growing our membership base. Rusty DePass is here to introduce our keynote speaker for today's meeting. Rusty.
I hope you all won't be offended. I'm going to remove my mask so that you won't think that I've got a mouthful of mush. Please do. We are extremely pleased today to have Dr. Kathy Coleman with us. That's the reason I wore this particular mask. This is my mask for Clemson people, and she is the director of the Clemson University Sandhills Research and Education Center out on what road could it be other than Clemson Road? As director, she oversees the operational and programmatic functions of the center, which is one of 6 experiment stations in the state. She also serves as the Assistant Extension Agribusiness Program Team Leader. The main focus at Sandhills is the development of Clemson's extension and research programs related to agribusiness. The vision is also to build agriculture and experimental conservation research related to the urban location and unique soil conditions at Sandhills. I wouldn't say Sandhills was necessarily unique soil, but I guess you could, if you come from the upstate anyway. There's a lot of it around here. Dr. Coleman has been at Clemson for 34 years. She was hired when she was 6, and 29 of which were in the governmental affairs area before being named director at Sandhills. She continues to work with the Clemson PSA advocacy team and assists with legislative strategies. She is a graduate of Clemson, has a Bachelor of Science and a Master of Science from Clemson, and a PhD from Texas A&M in agricultural economics. She resides in Saluda with her husband, Greg. They have 2 sons, Lewis and Thomas, unfortunately deceased, and a grandson named Wayman. And we're extremely glad to have you with us today, Kathy, and please welcome Dr. Kathy Coleman.
I wore my Clemson mask today. I'll put it down for a few minutes. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
I'm not a podium microphone kind of speaker. I like to talk with people, not to people, but I know that I'm on Facebook Live, and so I'll do my best not to run around or use my hands too much, knock the microphone or something. So thank you so much for having me today. I really appreciate the opportunity to come and speak to you about some of the things we're doing at Sandhill Research and Education Center. Thank you, Rusty, for that introduction. It's good to see you again. It's been a long time since I've seen you. I appreciate that. Yes, I grew up actually in Hopkins, South Carolina, so I've been in Columbia and working in Columbia my entire career, but married Saluda, so I've been living in Saluda for 34 years now, and so make a long commute, but it's worth it every day to work for Clemson. That's where my heart is, and I really enjoy it. So after 34 years, it's been a pleasure to work for Clemson and to move our university forward in a lot of different ways. In governmental affairs, I certainly had an opportunity to do that, and then my focus, my background's always been in agriculture. I live on a farm. We have some beef cows, and my husband was in the dairy business for many years, and so when I had this opportunity to go and rebuild Sandhill Station and to rebuild our agribusiness program, I was very excited about being able to do that about 5 years ago. So I appreciate you letting me come today. First of all, let me just make sure I can do this here. Might have to have Trey to help me. Just a little bit, I want to applaud you for your community service. Clemson as a land-grant university and as a public service university, and it's part of my career has always been, or most of my career is in public service. I've been on my local school board for 20 years too, and so I really believe in community service, and so Clemson has a lot of ties. Our presidents have been members of the Clemson Rotary Club. As you can see, many of your members have been benefactors to Clemson, and the Clemson Rotary Club used to meet when I was there. When I was at Clemson, they met at the Clemson House. So we appreciate the opportunity to come to your meetings, be members, and to also speak. A little bit about Sandhill. Clemson has been here since 1926. I'll give you a little more information about it. But actually, Clemson, in as early as 1896, 1911, is mandated to conduct research in 2 areas of the state and anywhere else that the Board of Trustees deems necessary. And one of those is Sandhill. So Sandhill Station has been there. We actually since 1926, but the enabling legislation was much earlier than that. Clemson is, as the land-grant university, we are charged under the Morrill Act of 1862, which established land-grant universities, and also other federal laws that establish the Extension Service and the experiment stations to conduct agriculture research. There are 6 stations across the state of South Carolina, one in Florence, Charleston, Georgetown, Blackville, and then at Clemson at campus. So our mission there, I hope you can read that, is to do agriculture research and then translate that research through our extension service to help our farmers, our ag community. So just in case you don't know where we are located in Northeast Columbia, right out at on Clemson Road, right across from the village at Sandhill. Just a little map right there. A little bit about the history. Clemson actually was, Sandhill was actually one of the largest experiment stations in the country when it was founded. And during the early years, we were one of the leading experiment stations. We had about 1,100 acres. We have some very historic buildings still there, as you can see. And as you can see, actually, I like to do this, that this Rotary Club was founded 10 years before the Sandhill Station was founded. We do have a cottage that was actually rolled there on logs, pulled with horses and a winch. We have a lake house that we use for a lot of meetings and a lot of our extension meetings that was built in 1932 by WPA. So we do have found some old photos of our facilities there. We had a lot of different agriculture research that was conducted. Clemson actually owned across where the village of Sandhill sits now, about 300 acres, and we sold that when they expanded Clemson Road. Beef cattle herds, a long time ago, the peach industry, we founded the Rootstock Guardian that solved the peach tree short life for peach industry, and so the rootstock now, for all peach trees, almost all of it comes from rootstock that was developed at Sandhill. So just a little bit of the timeline there. You can see we had a number of different crops. And then as we evolved, we had a swine test center, of course, peach research. And then we also had, we kind of moved into the community economic development area. And then in 2015, they asked me to come out. Actually, after the recession, there was a great need. We lost a lot of faculty members in the ag business, ag economics area. And so one of the things that we were charged to do by the ag industry was to rebuild our agribusiness program, which was my background. So since that time, we have done that, and to rebuild the ag research. The peach research moved to the Musser Farm on campus, and there wasn't a whole lot of agriculture research going on at Sandhill. So we have 600 acres now, Clemson Road, a lot of longleaf pine. We are actually in the longleaf pine savanna, which has diminished quite a bit over the years. We're part of that. We have 3 ponds. We are restoring our research plots. We do have the Richland County Extension Office on our property. We have the Clemson University Department of Pesticide Regulation on our property. We have the Department of Natural Resource. We collaborate, and they have offices there. As many of you know, we host the high school cross-country meets, a lot of them, and have hosted the state championship, and we hope we get to do that again if COVID-19 allows us. Some of the programs we do, there's a long list there, I won't go through all of them, but just a few of them. We do have an incubator farm program, we have a new and beginning farmer program. Some of the things we're charged with is developing new farmers, because Sadly, farming is a very difficult business, and a lot of folks are going out of the farming business. So one of the things we do want to do is try to keep folks productive and profitable, and bring on new folks that are interested in farming. With our forest research there, we've had pine straw workshops. We allow the high school envirothon competition to come there. We have soil judging contests for our FFA students, so we try to incorporate as many education programs as we can. We also have a farmers market every Tuesday from May to November. We hope we get to start back, maybe not this year. And then we developed our agribusiness program and some of the areas that we work in there. Mostly farm financial management. We do the Ag Lender School. We spend a lot of time doing the Farm Bill and working with farmers on the ins and outs of the Farm Bill. We participated in we helped implement the South Carolina Farm Aid Act in 2015. We do a lot of business planning, and we also do a lot of ag outlook with prices. So we try to run the gamut from large farms to small farms in our ag business program, in our extension area. Our team, we have 5 faculty members, we have 5 extension associates, and we have our regional extension agents that are part of our agribusiness team, and then we have Trey's our program associate. Also at Sandhill, we have the FNET coordinators located. We have a lot of state coordinators that are located because Sandhill is in the middle of the state. Our state FNET is the Expanded Food and Nutrition program, a federal program that works in communities with educating people on good nutrition. And then we have the 4-H equine specialists. We have a farm manager. All these are really, like I said, we've doubled our size in the last few years. We were able to hire a farm manager and some staff. What I want to point out is this year we have 3 Clemson student interns. I want to brag on Trey for just a minute. In Clemson has a student intern program. It's called a UPIC program, and we encourage every student to do an internship of some type, either internally with the university or help them externally. And so Trey came to us. He's from Camden, and so sometimes getting Clemson students around here that are interested in agriculture is a little bit difficult to find, but he was an ag business major, and he came to us as a student intern. He did such an outstanding job. We hired him as a student worker. The next summer we hired him right as soon as he graduated, and so I think there's a lot of value to growing our own leaders in agriculture and in ag business. And so Trey's done an outstanding job for us, and so I'm encouraging him to continue in his career, and I appreciate you letting me bring him, because I think it's wonderful to have our young people come and be a part of opportunities like this and understand the value that you have. A few things we're doing there. We had a lot of buildings that needed renovated. First thing I did was renovate the cottage so I could hire some faculty members, and I'll be honest with you, I have no shame in hiring good people to come to Clemson. I hired, our first one was from the University of Georgia. I'm hired from Michigan State and Auburn. I'm happy to steal the best to come to South Carolina and come to Clemson. So I renovated the cottage so I'd have somewhere for them to come until they could find a home. We've renovated our farm shops, our outbuildings, our barn, our greenhouses. We're in bad shape, so we put new roofs on them. And then we had to sort of rebuild some of our areas to conduct research. So we planted a lot of cover crops so that we could have start some of our ag research. We also have a children's garden out there. It was in the back of the property. We're relocating into the front of the property where people will be able to use it more. Plus, we are conducting ag research in the back, and we have to be very aware of biosecurity and make sure that the research plots are secure from people walking in them and doing things like that. Our roads, we've tried to repair some of those. Refurbishing our lake house. So some of the things we're doing there, just a few of the pictures that we're doing there at Sandhill, some of the things we've started doing that we weren't doing before. That just shows you sort of the satellite view of our property. You can see a lot of it is in forestry and our ponds, and then out front is where we're developing, you see some of those yellow pins down there on the lower right-hand side. Those are really where we are developing our research plot fields. And our peach trees are probably, I guess, in the northeast corner there where that yellow pin is. We've planted 80 peach trees for the first time in 20 years.
So that road running across the bottom, that is Clemson Road in Sandhill, so that's
Okay.
the bottom of the...
Yeah, Clemson Road is at the bottom, and then 2 notches on the right up here, okay?
How many total acres do y'all have out there?
We have 600, right at about 5 acres. Currently, some of the things we're doing in forest and wildlife projects, our assistant director, Dr. Corey Heaton, is the state extension wildlife specialist, so we're very fortunate to have him there. He is a pond specialist, so he is conducting a lot of research in native grasses and control of those and management of those. We do have, we're looking at some demonstrations on longleaf pines as to planting bare roots or container plantings. We are looking at management tools. We also have a researcher at Clemson that is actually doing research at 3 of our stations on the southern pine bark beetles. So we have beetle traps in our forest. So those are some of the things we're looking at, the plant communities within our forest to try to really enhance the native grasses that are good for wildlife.
Do you know anything about cannabis?
I'll get to that. So one of the things we've done there too is prescribe burns. And like I said, you can't do it in an urban setting, but we're very careful. We're very trained and knowledgeable. As a matter of fact, we've had trainings fly over when we're doing this to make sure the smoke doesn't go into the communities. And this protects our neighbors from fire hazards. So we put in fire breaks, which wasn't done. And we do small plots, and this is one of the best management tools you can do for your forest understudy and your longleaf pine forest. So we have been able to be very successful with those. We get a lot of calls, but we work through the Forestry Commission, we work through the local fire departments, and make sure we do that. Some other things we're doing, we've done some trials on collards, we've done some dry land soybean trials, some grain sorghum trials. We did herbicide injury trials. It's very important for our extension agents and our farmers to come and be able to see actual trials that go on. They don't want to test on their farm, we can test it, and then they can come and learn about what we're doing. We do this at all of our stations. If you can see, we went from just a few things to more research now. We started our peach variety trials. We are doing one that's very interesting. It's a subsurface irrigation trial. The faculty members actually at the Edisto station where we put in subsurface irrigation tapes and we plant soybeans on it. And so we're looking at some research on how to space that irrigation tubing. Again, we have some of our row crop trials. We did do a hemp herbicide symptomology trial last year in the greenhouse, and Trey helped with that quite a bit and can explain it much better than I can. The other thing we try to do is we have school days, I hope we get to have them this fall, where we bring in over 1,000 K through 2 kids, and we have a corn maze, we teach them about plants, how they grow, and so we're doing our best to try to educate young people too on the value of agriculture. And we work with our 4-H agent there at Sandhill. So again, we continue to grow. You asked about hemp. This year we have a hemp spider mite control. One thing our extension agents have learned now that we've had a couple of years of growing hemp, what are some of the problems? What are some of the diseases that hemp has and growing it in South Carolina? So we are doing a trial there. One of our horticulture agents in Lexington's actually doing that. And Dr. Heaton has done a couple of years, but one of the biggest problems that soybean farmers have is deer depredation. And so he's working on soybean deer repellent trials, and we have used Gain, Snuggle, I can't remember, Tide, Dawn, so several things he's experimenting with there on deer repellents. And we had a faculty member do an organic, we have 5.5 acres that are certified organic, where we can do organic research too, and that's taken us 3 years to get to that point. Just a couple pictures. There's some of our research plots that we have going on there. We've been fortunate enough to buy some equipment. And then a little bit about what we do too. We have our education days, because beyond just our research and extension mission, we try to be a very important part of the community and the education of our citizenry. And so we do have a lot of meetings, a lot of training meetings. We have a very active Master Gardeners group, a very active Children's Gardens group. We have partnered with USC on some research on our ponds. We have allowed our 4-H training. We've had the National Guard use it for training. Our Livestock and Poultry Health Division is actually on Clemson Road, and Clemson is responsible. Most states it's Department of Ag, but here Clemson is responsible for all of the livestock and poultry health in South Carolina. And so they use our facility for training also. Midlands Tech holds classes out there. So you can kind of look at the list there and see some of the things that we try to engage in. And actually the USC cross-country team comes and runs out there too. So we're happy to partner with them. I'm happy to rent space to USC. So there's our red barn that we refurbished, and then our lake house on the right. It'll hold about, and when you don't have to social distance, 100 people, and so and then our office building there on the left, and then we had some tomato variety trials that we also conducted there in our cottage. Let me talk a little bit about Britton Fox. She is one of our incubator farmers. She has an incredibly successful cut flower business, and she does a beautiful job. I wish I had one of her little cards, her flower arrangement, but I can't remember the name of her business. But anyway, it's amazing what she has done out there, and she has her own business, and she started it there. The incubator program is we basically give you a half acre for 3 years, teach you tools, teach you business planning, and then try to help you continue. And once your 3 years is up, there she is. There you can see. Look at her beautiful flowers, and it's incredible. I love going by there every day and looking at it. And it's so nice because if you say, I need flowers for tonight, and you got a bouquet ready in 30 minutes. It's wonderful. One thing we did last year, it was a lot of fun. Congressman Joe Wilson does his staff district tour every year, and working with Farm Bureau, they asked if they could come by, and so we had him and his staff out there, and we have a wagon and a tractor. We take them all around the station, and we're very appreciative of him and his staff coming by and visiting with us last August. This is the pesticide training shed. And everybody said, it's right sort of in the front of the property. Everybody drives by and says, when are you going to finish that building out there, Kathy? Because it's got a roof and it's got the foundation. Well, that's what it's supposed to be, because all your pest control operators are trained here on pesticide application and foundation. So it's got about 10 different kind of foundations in there, and they have trainings several times a year. Our Clemson, Eric Benson from Clemson conducts trainings 6 or 8 times a year, and so that's at our station. It was the first in the country, really, to have one of those. So you can see this is Ryan Bean. He's a county agent in Kershaw County, in Richland County, and Fairfield County. He's a forestry agent, and so he's doing a field tour here of some of our forest work. And then our president, Jim Clements, is very supportive of what we do in agriculture. He understands our land grant mission, our extension mission, and research mission. So this was one day when he was at our station. And then I wish you the best in your fundraising activity. What you do for, I believe it's Special Olympics, is that correct? It's fantastic. I mean, that is just such a great cause, and I know when we have our Special Olympic program at Saluda, it's just amazing to attend. So, so I really wish you the best there, and I want to thank you. I'm happy to. Am I good on? I'm good on time.
You are.
I hope I didn't rush that too much. Did you find you get
Oh, yeah. So her business is Boone Fox Farm.
Boone Fox Farm? Yeah, and so I'm happy to try to answer any questions that you have. I don't know if we're going to have football. It's not up to me, but I hope we. I did my survey. Yes.
Will you please elaborate some about the drone operations out there? That's a business that fascinates me, is why I asked.
Pardon?
That the drone operations out there, that the drone business is one that kind of piqued my interest. Are people successful with that around here?
Well, all we've done is use it. We have researchers that have used it because the drone technology for agriculture is extremely important. We have Joe Maha at our Edisto station in Blackville. Is a faculty member that is doing a lot of drone technology, and where he puts sensors on the drones, and those can, instead of driving across a field, you can run a drone across the field, and you can determine where you need moisture, where you need to irrigate, where you've got disease. And so, so we had a professional, drone operator come and just so we could see where the smoke was going. But it is going to be an extremely important part of agriculture technology, just because of the advantage of having sensing devices. I mean, one of the for farmers to make money, farmers are price takers, and so decreasing their input costs, if it's in fertilizer, if it's in water, if it's in detecting disease, and having that technology is part of precision ag that I think is very important. So ours is done through the research arm. We don't have anybody at Sandhill yet, but yeah, we may have one day. But
Dr. Coleman, two things. Have you used your service many times over the years to do an evaluation of my soil, my yard? To just kind of get a feel for what I need to add to help the grass grow. And also the intern program, or the incubator program that you brought up. How does one qualify for that?
We have an application process, and actually we're probably going to start putting it out to have a new application process. And so what we do is we will advertise for folks that are interested in it. They have to have a plan, not a full-blown business plan, but a plan of what they want to do. I think we have 3 now. We can handle probably 5 or 6. So they have to have a plan as to what they want to grow, how they want to grow it, how they want to market it. And so I'm happy that you can take my card and contact me, and I'll put you. Our farm manager Cody Bishop is actually in charge of our incubator farm program. So happy to get you in touch with him, and we can send you some information. Or if you know somebody, just please email me, and I'm happy to send them an application or information on it. Oh, wait a minute, you asked me 2 questions. Oh, soil test. Yes, so in our county offices, it's been rather difficult with COVID because our offices have been closed. But we're trying to, you can get a soil sample bag at our county offices or online. You can send it in a Ziploc bag, and the form is online, and pay your $6 and send it to Clemson, and you'll get your results back. And so we've had to change up because of COVID and our offices being closed, but we still do offer that service. Absolutely. I got several.
Well, like with the peaches, are y'all doing anything with tomatoes? It's hard to get. I grew up in the South. Good tomatoes
Getting to be hard to do. We do not at Sandhill. I would love for us. My long range goal would be to have a vegetable specialist there that would do some research at Sandhill. Because it's very conducive to growing fruits and vegetables. But our coastal station down in Charleston, we have about 300 acres, and we work with the USDA Vegetable Lab there, and they're doing a tremendous amount of tomato research there. but that's, but you're right, it's hard to find a good, it's, oh yeah, because it's, you're right, finding a good tomato, and they are looking at a lot of different varieties, and testing those, but we are doing some work in Charleston at our station.
I have two questions.
Okay,
The first one is, you mentioned deer repellent, and
pardon?
you mentioned using stuff for deer repellent, and I live on the edge of forest, and the deer come and eat everything from my squash to my flowers. It does
Yeah.
not matter. So when you mentioned that, am I putting just Dawn in a bottle of water and like spraying it, or?
Give me your name. When we figure out which one works best, let me know. We'll send it to you. Because I know.
It's painful. I have an automatic sprinkler.
Your shrubs, everything. But they did a tremendous amount of economic loss, especially soybean farmers, from deer depredation. So, so our solution is try to put something on them that they don't like to eat. That's the goal. So that's what we're trying to do.
My second question is, what are you doing studying pine straw? What exactly are you studying?
Well, what this was a workshop, and we actually filled it up, had a waiting list, had another one. It's how you use it how you market, how you harvest it, bale it, harvest it, what you should sell it for, how to have a business plan for it. Dr. David Coyle at Clemson is working with us, and so that's his area of expertise. So we have a beautiful pine forest where we could actually demonstrate how to harvest it, how to bale it, how to market it, what your break-even prices are, things like that, what kind of equipment you need. So it was an educational workshop on really how to harvest and market pine straw if you have a pine forest.
That's awesome.
Thank you for that.
Thank you for being here, and I want to thank you for what you do for those in the agricultural business and for in the agronomy business, and you provide a great service.
Thank
I
you.
want to ask you about the peaches. Are you only experimenting with new varieties of peaches, or are you working with some of the older varieties? And what do you do with your peaches after you grow them?
Well, we just started growing them, and Dr. Gasick on campus is the researcher that has worked more on the rootstock varieties. And basically, this Guardian rootstock that everybody uses, they're finding some nematode susceptibility to it. And so she has developed some new varieties. And so she's growing them at Clemson, growing them on some peach farmers on the ridge, and then growing them at Sandhill. So it's a replication trial. So she's trying different varieties that are, especially the nematode problem. And the thing about Sandhill is we got lots of nematodes. So if it's a variety that will live at Sandhill, it'll live anywhere. So she wanted that testing ground really to see if the varieties would be nematode resistant and grow well. So that's sort of what you do. It's sort of the stress test for peach varieties to see how well they do. So that's what we're doing. So I think she's got several different varieties out there that she's testing.
Last question.
All right.
We planted one time plastic mines, deer eating.
That's right. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I was going to ask about pine beetles. We've got a lot of us suffer from pine beetles in the Midlands. All loblolly pines.
Yeah, it's a you don't know if you're ever going to be able to stop. And the problem is that, especially if trees are stressed, then, they make it a lot worse. So one thing we're trying to do that Dr. Jess Hartshorn is working at 3 of our stations to try to trap, determine some of the patterns, determine, just the population of them and what we can do. So, those things take a lot of time to figure out. And so, what we do, we check them every week to see how many, how many beetles you have, then kind of what your infestation is, what we can do to try to manage it, and what kind of tools we can do. So we try to implement those best management practices there, and then determine if it's affecting the population. So, thank you so much. I know maybe you're not here, but we're going to sit down.
appreciate you being out here. I actually had the pleasure of going through Leadership, South Carolina. We met at the lake house out there. It's a beautiful piece of property. Here's a little thank you from the Columbia Rotary Club.
Oh, thank
Just
you
wanted to wipe
so
it down for you.
much. Thank you. Thank you.
President-elect Catherine Davis, who do we have coming to speak next week?
Next week, we will have Matthew Daniels, who is a PhD, and he also has his Juris Doctor. He's actually coming from Washington, D.C., and thanks to Hal Stevenson, we're connected to him and have the opportunity to hear him speak. He's going to bring to us some of the MLK teachings, that's Martin Luther King teachings, to those in a digital generation. And they've launched this thing recently, and it's really, I think you'll find the speaker not only very interesting, but his topic and his delivery is going to be that much more interesting. So please join and come and bring a guest next week.
Interesting and inspirational. That'll be fantastic. Okay, Rusty's going to take us out with some